It's my privilege now to introduce to you Frank Mingione. Frank is the chairman of this grassroots organization. If you don't know Frank, he's the president of FAS Plastics. You've also seen martial arts studio around town for the last 35 years that he has opened and run. He's a longtime Madison resident and a Hanover College graduate. I give you Frank Mingione. The only reason I'm the chairman of this tea party is because I missed the second meeting when they chose, and so I got the job. But first I want to say hello to all you patriots out there, and thanks for coming today. My name is Frank Mingione. I'm the chairman of Sons and Daughters of Liberty, and with my family and several partners, we run a number of businesses here in this area. As we kick things off here, I want to tell you a little bit about why the Sons and Daughters of Liberty were founded. Myself and many others in this community love this great country, and we've seen things in the last several decades that have really scared us to our core. The United States of America is unique in the world. As one of the youngest countries, it's risen to be the only superpower left on the planet. We work harder than any other country in this world to provide assistance to other countries in need after disasters and things like that. The success can be attributed to the concepts of liberty and freedom that this country was founded on. And in all the world, that is unique for the United States. We are generous in the times of tragedy around the world. We come to the aid of our allies when others won't or can't help. The experiment in freedom and liberty, so boldly attempted by our forefathers, has been the most successful endeavor in all of human history. We've had to defend our nation countless times throughout history. We fought wars to protect it. We've had our fathers and our grandfathers pass away defending this great country. We have our soldiers doing that right now. But many American people now see that after all of this, our liberty and freedom is quickly disappearing. Through reckless spending, through the total disregard of the Constitution, our elected officials are doing what no other enemy or terrorist organization could ever do. They are stealing our God-given rights and freedoms. This has been going on for many years. This has been going on for many years, but in the last 2 years, the pace has increased dramatically. The ridiculous spending by our government, the takeovers of our healthcare system, and many of our private businesses, this will be the downfall of this country. Washington has begun to raise taxes in every part of our lives and economy to the point where in the future it will be impossible to run a successful business in the United States. We are $13 trillion in debt, and the government just seems to be getting warmed up. And a trillion is a big number, and I don't know if you've ever considered this. I tried to wrap my mind around it recently, and what I did was I got a calculator out, and I had to go get another calculator because this one didn't have enough zeros. But what I did was I figured out that if you take a $10 bill and you count a $10 bill every second, it will take 32,000 years to make $10 trillion. And that's only a fraction of what our government is currently in debt. That's a scary situation. With the tax burden on our families and the country and the businesses in this country, our country will fail. They're spending us into a third world existence. Our freedom and liberty are in more peril right now than at any other time in our history. This is the reason that Americans are assembling all over the country to protest the path that this country is on. This is the reason that the Sons and Daughters of Liberty was founded. I'd like to give you a small analogy here of the situation we're in. It was coined by a great hero of the Vietnam War. He was a retired colonel, and he grouped people into 3 different categories. The first was sheep, the second was wolves, and the third was sheepdogs. Now he explained the sheep as a kind, and gentle, and productive animal. They move through their lives, they mind their own business, and they do everything peacefully. You know, every once in a while they may injure each other, but it's completely by accident. It's about 90% of the people in the world. Then we have the wolves. And the wolves live to prey on the sheep. They're always on the edge of the pastures. They have a watchful eye. They try and find a time when they can attack the sheep when there's an opening. The only way that the wolf can survive is if it steals from the flock. And thirdly, we have the sheepdog. The sheepdog lives with the sheep. It eats with the sheep. It sleeps with the sheep. If you look out over a flock of sheep, and I know this because my wife owns a sheep farm and we raise sheepdogs, but if you look out in the field, sometimes you can't tell if the sheepdog is there or not. It blends in, okay? The sheepdog is calm. The pasture is its home, and it watches its flock and it waits. When the sheepdog senses danger, it springs into action. It checks the fences, it corrals the sheep, it barks, it marks its territory, and it remains vigilant. In the event the wolves are not dissuaded by the warnings, the sheepdog will fight. It will fight to protect the sheep. Regardless of the odds, it will defend the sheep even to its last breath. The sheepdog is a noble animal. It does what it must. It doesn't wait for the sheep to act. It knows that although it would rather play with the sheep and drink some cool water and lay in the shade of a tree, it's the only one who can protect the flock. Relaxing will have to wait. Without the sheepdog, the flock will not survive. When you watch television and you see the coverage of the tea parties, and you listen to the radio, if you look at the people around you right now, ladies and gentlemen, we are the sheepdogs. We are kind and gentle and hardworking people. We are kind and gentle and hardworking people, but we will rise up and defend this country. There's no one else. We can't wait to be rescued. Nobody's coming. The wolf is at our doorstep. If we are the sheepdogs for this nation is the sheepdog for the world. This analogy fits perfectly today as it did back in the 60s when this great colonel fought for our country. Our current president doesn't feel like we should hold this position in the world. He doesn't like that. He apologizes for our actions around the globe. He recently told the whole world that, like it or not, we're the last superpower. Well, I do like that. He wants us to be sheep. And I'm standing here today to say, Mr. President, we accept our position in the world. We have decided we don't accept your position in it. We need more sheepdogs in elected office because for the last few decades the wolves have been in charge. Make it your duty to educate your friends and your neighbors to the issues that are confronting our country. Make sure when they're in the booth, they know what they stand on the position. The fundamental change away from our founding principles has begun, and it moves forward at a breakneck speed. We must act right now, because if we don't, there may be nothing left of this great country for us to give to our children. I want to thank you all for coming today. You are truly patriots in this fight against the tyranny we're seeing in our government. There's going to be a lot of great speakers here today. Listen carefully, get educated, pull those switches in the voting booths in the fall, and let's get this thing changed.